On November 11th, 2012, a neighbor is found with a bullet in his skull. By dawn, police name their suspect, John McAfee, the millionaire who built the antivirus software guarding half the world's computers. When officers arrive at his villa in Belize, the gates stand open. The dogs are gone. The house is empty. He's already vanished. Within hours, McAfee becomes a ghost, hiding under sand with a pistol and a plastic tube for air as helicopters sweep the shoreline. The man who once protected millions of machines is now the system failure himself. He fakes 2 heart attacks, bribes guards, escapes deportation, then vanishes across borders on a gun-stuffed yacht. He taunts the FBI on Twitter, posting coordinates they can never confirm, and disappears again before they arrive. 3 countries issue warrants. Interpol joins the chase. The United States calls him a criminal. McAfee calls himself free. What follows isn't just a manhunt, it's a demolition of control, engineered by a man who turned paranoia into a lifestyle and chaos into currency. The prophet of the virus. 1987, Silicon Valley hums with optimism. Personal computers are spreading like wildfire, and so are infections. Inside Lockheed Martin, McAfee writes 12 lines of code to detect a virus called Brain. He names it Virus Scan. Within months, corporations beg for protection. Within a year, his program becomes the most installed security software on Earth. He sells safety with the precision of a psychologist. He tells the press that digital viruses could bankrupt entire industries, melt data, crash governments. The fear is contagious and profitable. By 1990, half the Fortune 100 are clients. McAfee Associates pulls in millions. John becomes a tech celebrity, the man who tamed the wild web. But success is a cage, and McAfee hates cages. Boardrooms bore him. Shareholders feel like warden and prisoner at once. In 1993, he sells his shares for $100 million and vanishes into the desert. He drifts through yoga retreats, ultralight flying, and psychedelic experiments. He studies Eastern mysticism, writes books about spiritual cleansing, anything to fill the void. But the 2008 crash hits, and his fortune evaporates. His net worth falls from 9 digits to 4. The loss doesn't humble him, it liberates him. He declares governments parasites, taxes theft, laws illusions. "I will never let the state own my life," he says. In 2009, he boards a plane to Belize. No extradition, no IRS, no leash. He buys a beachfront villa, then a jungle compound, hires ex-cons as guards, and surrounds himself with teenage girlfriends. He tells journalists he's researching herbal antibiotics. Locals call him insane. By day, he flies his plane over the reef waving at fishermen. By night, he hosts bonfire parties with armed guards, cash payments, and endless rum. The compound becomes legend. Half lab, half fortress, half fever dream. Then paranoia sets in like rust. He installs cameras in palm trees, builds fences lined with tripwires, and sleeps with a Glock under his pillow. "They want me dead," he tells visitors. The police, the cartels, everyone. Maybe he's delusional, maybe he's right. Belize is paradise, but paradise with politics. And John McAfee never played by rules. The dogs, the neighbor, and the bullet. April 30th, 2012. The gang suppression unit storms McAfee's compound without warning. Tactical vests, assault rifles, black trucks. They line McAfee, his girlfriend, and his staff against a wall at gunpoint. His mastiffs bark and charge. One officer fires. A dog drops mid-stride. McAfee screams as soldiers drag him down. They tear through buildings, seize chemicals, flip furniture. They find no drugs. The only charge is possessing unlicensed firearms, a paperwork crime. He's released the next morning, but something inside him fractures. He tells reporters the raid was an assassination attempt. He doubles his guards, wires the perimeter with sensors, sets traps in the jungle. "They want me dead," he repeats. "They'll get me only when I stop breathing." 50 yards away lives Gregory Fall, a 52-year-old American retiree who came to Belize for quiet sunsets. He gets McAfee instead. The dogs bark through the night. Tourists complain. Fall files reports and finally threatens, "Control your dogs or I'll handle it myself." McAfee shrugs. Then, on November 9th, his dogs start foaming at the mouth. They collapse one by one. Poisoned, 4 die within hours. McAfee, pacing the yard with a gun, vows revenge. 24 hours later, November 10th, Fall's housekeeper finds him on his floor. Single 9mm round to the back of his head. Laptop missing, phone gone. When police arrive at McAfee's compound the next morning, the gate hangs open. The house is silent. McAfee's disappeared. He saw them coming. He's already buried under sand near the beach, watching through the grass as officers search his property. The man who built antivirus has become his own malware. Undetectable, adaptive, impossible to erase. For weeks, Belize erupts. Soldiers sweep jungles with helicopters. Checkpoints line the highways. McAfee moves every few hours. Fishing shacks, warehouses, sympathetic locals. He pays in cash and gold, shaving his beard, changing clothes, vanishing just before each raid. CNN calls him the software fugitive. McAfee listens to the coverage on a pocket radio, grinning in the dark. He pays a fisherman $2,000 for an illegal crossing into Guatemala. Before dawn, his boat drifts over the border. By sunrise, he's in a Guatemala City hotel with his 19-year-old girlfriend. For the first time in days, he breathes. Then, Vice magazine arrives. They photograph him, post the image online. We're with John. He's fine. The picture's metadata contains GPS coordinates. Within hours, Guatemalan police raid the hotel. Cameras flash. McAfee smiles for the world. At least I'll be famous again. In custody, he collapses, clutching his chest. Guards panic. Headlines scream, McAfee suffers heart attack. The next week, he admits he faked it. Hyperventilation, breath holding, deliberate collapse. It works. The delay buys his lawyers time to pressure the government. Guatemala, eager to end the spectacle, deports him not to Belize but to the United States. A loophole. December 12, 2012. Miami International Airport. John McAfee walks off the plane, unshackled, unrepentant, and smiling. It's good to be home, he tells reporters. The manhunt ends in applause. The myth begins. The outlaw of the internet. Back in America, McAfee turns his notoriety into theater. He films how to uninstall McAfee antivirus, surrounded by half-naked women, cocaine, and automatic weapons, mocking the software that made him a millionaire. It goes viral overnight. He marries Janice, a former sex worker 30 years younger, and reinvents himself again. Crypto prophet, tax rebel, digital dissident. Taxation is theft, he tells interviewers. The IRS is organized crime. He hasn't filed a return since 2010. In January 2019, a grand jury indicts him on 8 counts of tax evasion and fraud. The charges carry decades. McAfee laughs, loads his 75-foot yacht with guns, cash, and laptops, and sails into the Caribbean. I left the U.S., he tweets. I'm freer than ever. For the next 18 months, he becomes a maritime ghost. Cuba, the Bahamas, the Dominican Republic, maybe Venezuela. Never in one port longer than 48 hours. Each day, a new harbor. Each night, a new taunt online. They will never find me. Sometimes his coordinates are real, sometimes traps. Governments chase ghosts. He claims to use body doubles, encrypted phones, and dead man switches that will leak files if he's killed. No one can prove any of it, but no one doubts he's capable. When Dominican police finally arrest him for illegal firearms, he bribes his way out in 4 days. He raises a glass of rum as the yacht pulls away. Even when I'm caught, he says, I walk free. By 2020, he's hiding in Spain, older, gaunter, still defiant. On October 5th, airport security scans his passport. It pings red. Within minutes, Spanish police surround him. After nearly a decade of evasion, John McAfee is finally in handcuffs. The charges, tax evasion, fraud, and market manipulation. The potential sentence, life. In prison, he tweets through intermediaries. I'm content here, he writes. I have friends. But if I hang myself, like Epstein, it wasn't me. He tattoos the word whacked on his arm, a warning or prophecy. He tells his lawyer he's at peace, tells his wife he will call her tonight. June 23rd, 2021. Spain signs the extradition order. Hours later, guards find McAfee hanging from a bedsheet. He's 75 years old. The official report says suicide. His wife insists murder. His followers claim he escaped again, faked his death, bought a new identity, disappeared into the digital sea. His body remains in a Spanish morgue for months as lawyers argue. Online, conspiracy theories multiply. Secret servers, hidden messages, proof of life. But one truth survives the noise. John McAfee built an empire on fear and became fear itself. He turned paranoia into armor, chaos into strategy, and his life into a never-ending zero-day exploit. He once said, "Better to live one day as a lion than 1,000 as a lamb." He did exactly that. And somewhere, in the endless cloud he once taught the world to distrust, his ghost still lingers, laughing at firewalls, watching the watchers, waiting for the next antivirus update to fail.